In the last session, we had a look at an important chapter, which is the fast track procedure, or more loosely known as emergency procurement. Now, the fast track procedure has been utilized in the recent past with the crisis in our northern borders in a in a major way of bringing in equipment into the Indian Armed Forces. However, we understood the enablers in the procedure as well as the terms of restriction by virtue of which it cannot be applied in the present form in across the board for all procurement of defense equipment. However, it has got very good provisions, shortens the procurement timelines as an aspect to be considered for modification in terms of employing it for a larger amount of equipment besides the one that are in an operational crisis. Now we come to another chapter, chapter 10 of the DAP 2020, which is the other capital procurement procedure, OCPP. This is often neglected. To understand this, we must look at the historical aspect of it. Largely, we expend the revenue budget far more than we expend the capital budget. New equipment is procured, largely the new equipment is procured through the capital budget, while as the sustenance of the equipment is done through the revenue budget. Now, because we always had money left over in the capital budget, a sustenance of the equipment is an important aspect of capability maintenance. As a result, certain amount of money from the capital budget used to be used in the procedures that are used for revenue expenditure that is controlled by the document known as the Defense Procurement Manual or the DPM. However, there was no chapter or no reference in the DPP 2016 and earlier versions, which are the ones that used to control the capital budget, for any sort of a shifting of expenditure from the capital and to be used under the procedures of the DPM. While there was nothing wrong in it, they're basically heads within the capital within the budgeting. However, it was felt necessary to have such a chapter to enable such a thing, and you could go ahead in the procedures which is through the DPM, which is considered to be faster than the capital procurement or the new equipment procurement. So we'll have now a look at chapter 10, other capital procurement procedures, as to how it impinges. The other capital procurement procedure is for items such as overhaul, refits, upgrades, and replacement of items of capital nature. Now, this is very important. It's already in service, and this is basically maintaining the equipment towards it in its life cycle. It caters for expenditure incurred with object of acquiring tangible assets of permanent nature or enhancing the utility of the existing assets. What is important is that this procedure under this chapter largely follows the DPM, the Defense Procurement Manual, which is the governing document for revenue procurement. However, parts of it have been suitably modified to align to the other capital procurement procedures. Items under the other capital procurement procedures cannot be taken up under any other procedure. Now, there are certain steps in the complete process. The first step is that the list of these items is drawn up by headquarter IDS and the respective service headquarters. And this list is promulgated by DG Acquisition in consultation with the MOD Finance for the purposes of the budgeting. Now, the list is normally drawn up over 5 years. It notes all the requirements that would take place during this 5 years to maintain the present equipment. And the service headquarters sends the list to the MOD Acquisition through the MOD Finance for vetting. Now, when the list is drawn up and the quantity is laid out, an inherent 25% flexibility in the total quantity and value is included to address all exigencies that may come up. Now, within the overall financial limits, it is added to the annual acquisition plan, the 2-year annual acquisition plan for implementation purposes. The complete list with quantity, that is with the items, is not there. Only the total amount in terms of the INR is listed in the part D of the AAP. That means do not have the complete list with the items. It's only the total value of this that is listed in part D. Keep in mind, this expenditure is on items of routine maintenance, repair, etc., incurred under the revenue budget through the DPM procedure. The RFI and the SQR formulation is carried out. However, it is only done if it is suggested by the SHQ. The reason is the scope, the cost, the SQR and the vendor base is already known since it is in-service equipment. We're already sourcing from them. Therefore, the RFI and the SQR stage can be skipped unless suggested by the SHQ. The acceptance of necessity. The difference is that the SHQ processes the case on file and it is not briefed or anything. It is on file and the vetting is done on file. And the UN grant is inclusive of the 25% flexibility that I talked about. The cases need not be processed through the Services Procurement Board, the Defense Procurement Board, or the Defense Acquisition Council. For non-delegated cases, goes to the CFA through the MOD acquisition, through the MOD finance, and to the delegated cases, it goes to the CFA concerned in consultation with either the PFA or the IFA of the CFA. The quantity vetting is carried out by additional FA or the PFA/the IFA, depending on whether it is a non-delegated or the delegated case. And the UN authority for cases up to 500 crore is with the CFA concerned, that is the delegated authorities, and for beyond 500 crores, it is with the Raksha Mantri. The UN validity in this case is for a total of 1 year only. Now, post accord of UN, the MGS branch in the service headquarters sets up a procurement cum negotiating committee. Now, this provision of a procurement cum negotiation committee as is in the DPM, and all activities till the conclusion of the contract shall be looked at by this committee, and this is for delegated cases up to 300 crore. Now, cases where it is non-delegated, that is above 300 crores, as per DAP 2020, it is processed as per the provisions in DAP 2020. Please keep in mind for capital procurement, the delegated cases start below 20 crore, whereas in the revenue procedures, it is up to 500 crores. Exception is additional FA MOD finance is the member instead of the finance manager, and all aspects take place on file. RFP is issued by the service headquarter, ADG Acquisition Tech as per the DPM, aligned for other capital procurement procedures. And the technical evaluation also is done as per the procedure laid out in the DPM. It's not much different. Neither is the RFP much different to the one that is there in the DAP 2020. And obviously, no field evaluation trials or staff evaluation is undertaken. Approval is by the respective CFAs, depending on the value, before the contract signing. And the contract document is also done as per the DPM, which again is not too different to the one that is there in DAP 2020. For the sake of monitoring of the complete mechanism, regular feedback update of all schemes will be at the SHQ level, quarterly report to the MOD acquisition. And the timelines of acquisition is as per the Defense Procurement Manual. In the other capital procurement procedures, further delegation has been done. For the capital procurement, that is below 500 crore, it was only with the vice chief. However, in OCPP, up to 100 crore, the general officer commanding army commanders equivalent of Army, Air Force and Navy is authorized, and the regional commander of the Indian Coast Guards. and up to 200 crore is with the Deputy Chief, Combat Development and Sustenance, and the Master General Sustenance, which is erstwhile the MGO, with equivalence of the appointments in Air Force and Navy, and the ADG, Indian Coast Guards. Up to INR of 300 crore is the same as that of the capital procurement. This with the Vice Chief, and equivalent of the Air Force and Navy, the CISC, as well as with the DG of the Indian Coast Guards. Now, above INR 300 crore, it goes to what has been delegated as per DAP 2020, which remains from 300 crore to 500 crore. It's with the Defense Secretary. From 500 crore till below 200 crore, 2000 crore is with the Raksha Mantri. And from 2000 crore to 3000 crore, it is with the Finance Minister. And above 3000 crore is with the Cabinet Committee of Security, the apex body chaired by the Prime Minister. This chapter in the DAP 2020 spoons up the process, lays down the way in which the procurement can be carried out for sustenance of the existing equipment. It's an important chapter. Previously, possibly, it was not so controlled as it is now. While the DAP 2020 comes into being, however, the procedures which are there in the DPM, Defense Procurement Manual, will look at the revenue procurement part of it, come into implementations, which is considered to be faster and more easier as compared to the capital procurement. Obviously, the capital procurement being new equipment, you have to be more diligent as compared to sustenance of an existing equipment, which is known entity totally. Now, having covered this important chapter, we shall now cover chapter in the next session, that is chapter 4, which is the procedure for acquisition of systems designed and developed by DRDO, DPSUs / the Ordnance Factory Board. It is an important chapter to understand because a large volume of interplay between the private industry and the DRDO, DPSUs, OFBs is coming into being. And this chapter lays down the procedure as to how this can be done, and a large volume of equipment is being procured through this chapter. It's been a pleasure to be with all of you. This and earlier sessions that I have taken are available on the YouTube, my Google blog of Knowledge Enabler Defense Procurement, as also my LinkedIn account. I'm also broadcasting to anyone who wants to receive the message. So should you want to receive it, just send it to this number that is listed on this slide, want to receive, and I'll send it directly across to you. And these will only be DAP sessions. I will not be sending anything else and cluttering up your inbox. Do subscribe to my Google blog. It is free and it encourages me to further go ahead. Do disseminate these videos to people who can utilize it usefully so that maximum can benefit. Do like this post. It's certainly encouraging and it is free. Thank you so very much. Till next time.